Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesdays Live with Gotham Quilts. I had to remember what we had renamed this. I'm Andrea, and we also
I'm Jen.
have and Yvette is behind the scenes. Today, I'll combine those two words to form a nonsense word. Um, Today, we're going to talk to you about we're not calling them journeys anymore, right? So
Yeah, we
what we
changed.
Yeah. So what we had been calling color journeys, or not just color, sorry. I have the color journey is the one that I teach, so that's the one that I have on my mind. Jen teaches the creative stitching journey, which is now evolved into something else that she'll tell you about in just a second. But now we are just calling it so my color class. So what used to be known as um, color journey is now color for quilters, which is a little bit more specific. Um, to be honest, you don't have to be a quilter to take it, but most people that do are quilters, so it's a little bit more targeted.
Have you
And it's
had
basically
non-quilters?
what?
Have you had non-quilters in your class?
Not that I know of,
Yeah. Okay.
but I would welcome them, just
Oh,
like
sure. I think
anyone
it's
else.
helpful for painters and everybody. I think there should be some fun stuff in there to play with.
Exactly. And some of the people that have taken it are also painters or photographers, graphic designers. We've had lots of different creative people take it. But this is specifically targeted at using fabric and putting fabrics, colors of fabric together. Because even if you have taken color theory or design classes or whatnot, like if you've learned to mix paint or something like that, it's a very valuable experience and it will help you using color with fabric, but it's not the same. I can't mix my solid fabrics together to make a new color like you can with paint.
Yeah.
um, so it's about combining the colors of the fabrics we do have and that we can find in pleasing ways, and most importantly, becoming comfortable with color. One of the things I hear most is, I'm scared of color. I don't know how to put colors together. I'm intimidated by color, those kinds of things. And it's not rocket science. It's not it isn't even like hard and fast rules. Like it's very squishy and subjective and malleable. Um, but if you're not comfortable with it, you're going to have a hard time. So this is, for the most part, my main goal is to make you comfortable using color and learning some of the words, value and hue and saturation, and some of those words that you might have heard but didn't know exactly what it meant or how it related to what you're doing in your quilting. So we get into all of that stuff and we do experiments. It's actually, in my opinion, it's really fun, but then I love working with color and just about doing anything with color.
I thought it was
But
really fun too. I enjoyed it when I took it.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. And so we use a book. The book we use, which this is probably backwards, is the Quilter's Field Guide to Color by Rachel Hauer. No, Hauser. Sorry, there's also a Rachel Hauer that designs fabric. This one is Hauser. Um, and this book is good for several reasons, but one, because she's using fabric. This book is written specifically for quilters.
Right.
The other extremely important thing about it is in the back, she has color swatches. So when we started talking about this years ago, my main concern with doing a color class virtually was, how are we going to know that we're all looking at the same color? Because screens are not reliable. You've probably, you've taken a picture of something with your phone and then you look at it on the screen and you're like, wait a second, that's not what that color looks like. Jen is holding up her swatches. So when you get your book, you will cut out all of these swatches so that you can manipulate them and mix and match and that sort of thing. You think, as the teacher and been doing this for 4 or 5 years, I would have done something better than just swatches in a Ziploc bag, but I haven't yet. I'll get to that eventually.
I should bring you mine.
There you go. Yeah. So this allows us to know that we're all looking at the same color.
It
So when
made
we're
a
doing a
huge
challenge,
difference in class.
absolutely, yes, exactly. And I mean, there are other ways to do that. We could get Pantone chips, or things like that. But one, those are expensive.
Yeah.
And knowing which ones to get can be difficult, and all of that kind of stuff. So it comes with the book. Everybody's going to be looking at the same colors. We can say, seafoam color 107 seafoam is more blue than 116 parakeet, that sort of thing, so that we can have an informed discussion about these colors and how they go together and what their qualities are, and everybody knows that we're looking at the same thing. So that is one of the critical pieces about this book. But also, I mean, it's got all these challenges in it. There's beautiful pictures. I mean, I just flipped open to this one. There's one towards the back that everybody likes. Well, I mean, I like it too. That she uses as an example. I'm not going to be able to find it now, but oh no, here it was, right here, next page. So this pretty palette here of fabrics that are pulled from this this lifestyle photograph right here. So she likes, the palette that's going on here, and so she pulls fabrics that sort of match the colors that she's seeing in the photograph. And then in the very back, she puts palettes together for you. So this is the green color story. So one is, she's got a little pink in there, actually, green with a little pink, more of a neutral, and blues and greens. Let's pick orange. So orange, one of the ones I like. It's funny because it's the orange color story, but like all the fabrics down here are blue. But you can see, orange and red, orange and turquoise, orange and green. And all of these are, I mean, I own a lot of the fabrics in this book, to be honest. So it's in digestible bites that you can really connect with. Like, oh, I have that fabric. Now I know what I can, things I can put it with. So the way that the what we've called journey, but we're now calling color for quilters, the way we kind of structure it is we meet once a month, and then starting in January, it will be the Wednesday, the first one. I don't remember. It's a Thursday, or no, a Wednesday. It's always been on a Thursday in the past, so my head is like Thursday. But we've actually switched it this year so that people that have a guild meeting on Thursdays or choir practice or whatever, they'll never be able to do a Thursday. We're finally switching it up and putting a Wednesday on the schedule so that anybody that had wanted to take it in the past that wasn't able to, hopefully now would be able to do it on a Wednesday. So we'll meet once a month on a Wednesday, and 6 to 8 Eastern time, and we'll read a chapter or two depending on the month. And then at the end of the chapters, there are challenges. So let me just pick one out here. So I think this is the first one, actually. So at the end of the chapter, we have a swatch challenge. So that would be using your little swatches. And in the first one, it's warm and cool. So picking a warm and a cool. And then also a patchwork challenge. So she suggests using a bear paw block, but that's not necessary. You can use whatever block you want. But that's really putting into practice what you're learning. So you'll do the challenge with swatches, and then you'll bring it into fabric and really apply it to using fabric and quilting. And this is a fun class. I want you to get the most out of it that you can, but I also realize that people have lives, and this is probably not the highest priority you have going on at any given time. So, if you miss a month or if you skip a challenge, no big deal. You will get out of it kind of what you put in, like most things. But you don't have to worry about not having your challenge. Like, oh, I don't want to go to the meeting because I didn't do the homework. Don't worry about that. Even if you never do a challenge and all you do is just come to the meetings, you'll still pick up a lot of information. But you'd get more out of it if you did the challenges too. Some people will make the same block for every challenge, and then at the end of the year, they have enough blocks to make a quilt. Some people do a different block every month. Some people don't get to the block. It's very versatile. It's very you can tailor it to what works for you. And my job is to just guide you on this journey, which is why we used to call it a journey, to learn more about color and to become more familiar with color and to love color, like I do. So we do have a question here. Do we just work with solids, or would we be learning with prints too? That's a great question. Solids are going to be easier, but you're basically going to be working from your stash for the fabric challenges. I mean, if you want to go out and buy fabric, I'm not going to stop you, but we really do talk a lot about developing your stash and a stash that you can use. As we get further into the year, we start, first it's the basics, but then as we move forward, we do talk about that. What is your stash missing? What kinds of fabrics are more usable? And that does get into prints as well. So we're starting out very basic, but most people do use prints. I mean, if you really only use solids in your quilting, stick with solids. If you
Right.
love using bright and bold prints, then that's what you should use. Again, it's really kind of tailored to what you want to do and what you want to get out of it. So that's totally up to you. There are a few where you want to kind of try to remove the imagery from the prints, where people have gotten caught up with, say, come up with a summer palette and they'll choose a fabric with sunflowers on it because that makes them think of summer. That's fine, but you're really trying to think about the colors that make you think of summer, not necessarily that this fabric has sunflowers on it.
Right.
So other than that, though, go crazy. If you want prints, and all prints all the time, do it. Um, there are things like some batiks that are really washy and multicolored. Some of those can be tricky just because there is no like predominant color. Um, but then again, if that's what you use and that's what you want to use, we'll work with that and we'll figure it out. So this is kind of my baby. We just figured out this will be the 5th time. So the class starting in January will be the 5th one we've done. And I love doing it. We have 2 sessions running right now, which is getting a little tricky for me because one is more than halfway through and the other one just started. So I'm like remembering where we are. But it's fun. I think it's really cool. I love doing it. I love at the end when we get to the end and people are like, oh my God, I feel like I can do this now. Like I'm so much more comfortable than I was. And that's what I want to hear. That's what I want you guys to get out of it. So if you have any questions about the color for quilters, please go ahead and type them in the chat and we will get to them.
Can
You
you
can
show
always, yes.
can you show her color wheel
Oh
if she
yeah,
has one there?
well,
I
I
always thought that
can.
really interesting. It upset me at first,
It upsets me, to be
but it
honest.
doesn't bother me as much now as it used to.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this color wheel.
I thought that was
Brown
interesting.
brown is not supposed to be in the color wheel. And there's no turquoise, there's no yellow. There's quite a few things missing from this color wheel, in my opinion.
I think it's a really good demonstration that we can do whatever we want.
That is true, though. You're
She just
right.
broke all the rules and she got a book.
That's
So,
true.
if there's something that you feel really strongly about, like this class will help reinforce it and
Mm-hmm.
make you do something that you really love. You don't have to follow the perfect spectrum. It really upset me the first time. It's taken me a while to be like, whatever, good for her.
Yeah, that's true. I like your point. I'm glad that you mentioned that. When you're trying to show an example of what like blending colors into each other is, it's a little problematic for that purpose.
Right.
But for a rainbow palette, it is actually a pretty good example because your rainbow palette might not have yellow or teal, but that doesn't keep it from being a complete palette. Um, so that's a very good point, Jen. Um, okay, no questions yet,
Not
so
yet.
I'll keep an eye on it. But while I'll keep an eye on the chats, I'll let Jen talk about her classes now.
All right. So I have two hand embroidery classes coming up in January. One is the renamed Creative Hand Stitching Journey, which is a lot of syllables, makes it harder to program. So we've decided to switch it to Embroidery 101. Very clear, very easy to understand. And what we do in that class, it meets monthly. We're actually changing the format a little bit. So there is we in embroidery 101, we work our way through creative stitching, which is Sue Spargo's hand embroidery book. This is all hand embroidery. If you want to learn machine embroidery, I'm not your girl. I don't know how to do that. Um, it makes me swear. I can teach you some more swear words, maybe. Um, Yeah, see, sorry, I'm talking too fast. We're gonna work through Sue Spargo's Creative Hand Stitching book, which has loads of stitches. I meant to count, but it's somewhere around 100. We work through it not in order of the book. We work through in order of what I think makes sense. It gets progressively more difficult, although occasionally towards the end I throw in some easier ones too, so that you don't go. Um,
Throw your
June
book
was
against the
really
wall.
hard. In July, I'm just not even gonna show up for that nonsense. I make it, take it easy. But we start out with just like running stitch and back stitch, and we get all the way to like these crazy woven things where like you can do all of these things, lots of texture and stuff. So really fun. But all of the stitch demonstrations, I have individual videos for each stitch broken out by month. And then we have a monthly meeting. And in our monthly kind of social hour, it used to be more of a class where I would go over everything in the on-demand videos, but that wasn't fun for me. So now we're all having fun in class, and it's more along the lines of a Q&A, a social hour, a show and tell. I want you to show me what you've been working on. I'm going to show you what I've been working on, things that I found interesting.
Get a
Um,
chance to ask questions,
right, yeah,
which is really, really crucial when you're doing when you're learning how to do some of these things and you're
right.
like, mine doesn't come out the way the book does. What am I doing wrong?
Right, and then somebody will say, like, "I can't get my bullion knots to work, so I'll get out my stuff," and I will demonstrate. I don't mind, but I'm not just
Yeah.
gonna go over all the stuff that's in the on-demand. That just was boring. But we're actually combining both sessions, so people from the beginner class and the more advanced class will be in the same social hour, hopefully exciting each other and activating each other. Because even when I learn the really fancy ones, every once in a while, somebody will show me something they did with just running stitches or satin stitches, and I get excited again. So I think it's important to go back and forth through
So
both
what
of
is
them.
this? What is this social hour you mentioned?
So that's our live meeting.
Okay. So
So
in your live meeting, you're having both embroidery 101 and 201?
that is my
Okay.
plan. If everybody rises up and hates it, I'll change that plan because this is the thing. But we have it's going to be that part will be on Zoom. Everything else is on demand. There's a feed where you can share pictures. There is no pressure at all. No excuses allowed. If you come into the meeting and tell me you didn't do any embroidery that month, that's fine. You don't have to confess. When I ask you if you want to share, don't. That's fine. Or you can pretend and show me something you made 6 years ago. I have no idea. Um, but I totally understand. I think my students get a little bit worried that they'll have seen that I did a lot of embroidery this month and they feel bad that they didn't.
Right.
That just means that you had a more exciting life than I did this month. more
Yeah,
interesting
that's
stuff.
it's your job to do this. Most
Right.
people have other jobs that they have to do.
Exactly. Or that, I was left alone for 4 hours and all I had was a piece of fabric and some thread, and I did this.
Mhm.
Um, so for the embroidery 101, we start out, everybody gets the book. If you have the book, we have some different options. They get the book and needles, and it's 10 different needles. And we talk about the best uses for the different needles. There's also an optional thread pack. And then we have a project. Now, the project is optional, but everybody seems to like having a little bit of a guideline. So I designed this sampler book, which I'll have to make a new one with a different cover. But we have different little things. There's an alphabet. And then every month we have a little layout that we work through. So we get practice on our stitches, and we make this fun book. Um, it's hard for me to see what I'm showing. And we do this, work on it every month, ideally. If not, that's fine. If you don't want to do the book, don't do the book. There is no pressure. But it
It
was
is a
just there.
great reference though for you to come back to later and see exactly what those stitches look like in real life.
Exactly.
And
And the
what they
pages,
look like when you do them versus what they look like in a book.
right, right. Oh, and that's the other thing. Like some of the stitches, if you do it wrong, as long as you do it consistently, it's fine.
Exactly,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, so I think it's really fun. After teaching it, I'm starting to really, really get into embroidery, which kind of surprises me. I'm much
Starting
more
to.
interested in it. Um, so that's embroidery 101. And what I've heard from students in the past was what they want is to know how to combine stitches. So the book has pictures in it, but there's really no explanation of what the combinations are. And there's a little chapter in the back that has combinations. But again, it shows you images and doesn't really explain what they are or how to do that. So we have come up with embroidery 201. This is our continuation. And we're going to do same kind of format. It's going to be in our Mighty Networks community. There will be video demonstrations for each stitch in the book, which a lot of them, there's a lot of crossover, which is nice. So anybody who's taken 101 won't be starting over again with totally new stuff. You'll be able to do stuff. But we have Joyful Stitch Combinations by Valerie Bothell, and this has 350 different combinations.
Wow.
So I'm having a little of a palpitation over which ones I'm going to do what to. But there's a bunch of new stitches that aren't in the creative stitching book too, which is really exciting to me because once I learn 100, I want to
Sure.
learn the next 100.
Yep.
So there's a lot of that, but it'll be the same format. There will be on-demand videos every month, and every month there's a theme, and we talk about stuff, and then we have our meeting. So we'll just work our way through this book, and there are projects in this book as opposed to the first one. There's no projects. This book has little hoop samplers, so it's kind of like a traditional crazy quilting.
But in a
And there's some,
small doable format.
right, right. I mean, you could theoretically do one per month, or you could do one per year and have it really, really fancy. But there's how to do a wreath, which I thought was pretty cool, to not just do straight lines, which is what I did on mine. There's a little bag. I think it's a project pouch, little big enough for your embroidery hoop. Really nice. Oh, and then there's this one at the back, which is she calls it a dresser scarf. I kind of want to do this, but I have to find another application because I'm not a dresser scarf person. I don't even have a dresser.
You just hang it on a wall just like that. That would be
Right.
pretty.
They're really pretty, but I love this idea that my sticking point is, well, if there's 350 combinations, I need 350 seams, which would be a whole lot of 2-inch strips.
Yes, it
So,
would.
but she even has like just a piece of striped fabric that she sewed the combinations on.
Yeah, that's pretty.
So really, really cool. And I don't know. I consider myself a modern quilter, but I still have like that. I really want to do crazy quilting. Really want to do something like that, but with a more modern take. But look at how cool these combinations are.
Those are cool. Oh yeah,
So,
that one. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I didn't actually look at that book when it came in.
yeah, I mean, it's just there's some really neat stuff in here. and different ways to layer it. And just think of the great texture you could put on a quilt too.
Oh
Like this is,
yeah.
I'm going to be embroidery on the quilts is coming. But I do need to come up with a project for this year that I'm going to do and actually start it. But those are the embroidery offerings, and they go all year long. And I think I'd have to go to the calendar. You're the third Wednesday. I think I'm the second
I think you're
Wednesday.
right. I think I'm the third Wednesday. Yeah.
Um, I think it's the second Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And then those meetings will be recorded and posted in each group too. So if you miss the meeting, there, and Color Journey is too,
Right. I
right?
was
Or
just gonna
not
say, good thing to
Color
mention. Color
Filters.
Journey is also recorded, so if you miss it, you can watch it later.
Yeah. Yeah, we record everything. So if you miss, we're there. And if you miss, you can watch the thing. And if you have a question, you can post pictures in the feed and ask us, and we're responsive.
Mhm.
It's exciting to me if I'm doing something else and I get the little bing that one of my students needs me. I'm stopping whatever I'm doing to go play. So it's really nice.
And
Um,
same with color for quilters also. So we use what's called Mighty Networks, which is similar to Facebook, but without all the junk that comes with Facebook. So there is a feed. So anyone in the and it's a private group, so only the people in the class will be in the feed, I guess.
yeah.
And you can see who else is in the class, and you can do direct messages and that kind of stuff. But you can also just post in the oh, sorry, Yvette is saying it's a space. Um, so yes, so our class will be the only ones that are in that space. And you can post pictures, ask questions, just tell us what you're doing that day, whatever. And it's like an ongoing interaction, really. But then we also meet in that space also for our monthly meetings.
Yeah. And there is it's the tech can be a little bumpy at first. It takes a couple of meetings to really get comfortable with the format, but mostly I think it's easy. I think it's
I think it is. Yeah, and if
it-
you do any kind of social media, it's going to be very similar.
yeah.
And if you don't, that's okay too. Don't be scared.
Right.
We'll
And
work you through it and get everybody going.
absolutely. And let us know when you need help or if you're nervous about something because I'm definitely here to assist. I want to have you be comfortable and have a good time. I don't mind answering questions. And I really would like all of my everybody to stop approaching us and telling us that they have a stupid question. That don't
No stupid questions.
they're brave
Everybody
questions.
starts somewhere, and if you're thinking of this question, there is a very good chance that someone else is thinking the exact same thing, but too afraid to say it.
Right.
So by all means, spit it out.
Yeah. Carol's asking if there's directions for making the stitch book. There are. They're in the journey. I think I have to, yeah, they're part of Embroidery 101. Carol is in my creative hand stitching journey September start. And if it's not
Brand
in
new.
there yet, it will be shortly. It's probably just not, it's probably hidden.
Hasn't gotten copied over yet.
Yeah. So
And Kathleen asked about how much of a stash do you need for Color Journey? Um, it really varies. I know Yvette was trying to answer that question. I mean, even like she said, even if you only use the swatches, you'll still get a very good amount out of the program, the class. But the more you can also do with fabric, the more you'll get out of it. But even if you don't sew anything, I mean, the sewing is almost besides the point. It's really putting the fabrics together. So even if you could put a shirt that you like the color of with I don't know, like you can use anything that's in your environment. You can yarn, clothing, quilting fabrics, blankets, go to the hardware store and get some paint chips. Like really kind of wherever you can find color is going to work. Um, Obviously it's better if you have a bigger stash and can use what you have. But if not, that's okay too. We'll make it work.
yeah. I even just using the swatches that come with the book, I thought that some of the months where I was very challenged time-wise, I was able to
Mhm.
sit down for 5 minutes and move my little swatches around and come up with the analogous color composition or
Yeah.
whatever. Like that was useful.
There's a couple like reds aren't great, and which I think is probably due to the printing process. That's my guess. I don't actually know that. But there's also other tools that we use. One of them is the color card deck, and these are. Let me see if I can find a red one. So these are bigger swatches, basically, of I don't know. I think there's like 200 or something in here. 200
Oh, yes, they're
cards.
all pink, aren't they?
So yeah, they're very yeah, there's like a true red is a little hard to find.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, so there's other things you can use as well that can be helpful that we talk about during the course. Um but again, like I said, you can go to the hardware store and get paint chips, you know. Like there's ways to do this without spending a ton of money or, you know, creating a giant stash. Like we can do it.
Right.
The stitch class is the fourth Wednesday. I think you're right. Yes. So the color is going to be the third Wednesday, starting in January, and then the stitching is the fourth.
Embroidery, the embroidery journey 101 and 201 are on the second Wednesday. The one Carol's in is my one that started in
Oh, got it.
September. That's the fourth.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's a
Yeah,
little confusing.
we're all confused by all of the different dates.
Right. And if you were to click or scan the QR code, it'll take you right there. Click
There
on
you
it.
go. Yeah, go to the website where it has the most accurate, up-to-date information that is not scrambled by our brains.
It's the end of a day. I can't remember. And it's all on Wednesdays.
Right. Yeah, I know. Mine used to be simple because it was always a Thursday. That was very easy to do. And now I'm not gonna know what's happening.
Right. So quick note before was there anything else? I don't think there was anything
I don't
else for
think so. I
me.
haven't. Yeah, I think we've covered the questions that have come up. But signups are open. Just to let you know, these classes start in January,
Right.
so we start the sign up process pretty early. But we want to give you, you know, we want to give people enough time to sign up, and then we cut off the signups at the end of November, beginning of December, so that we have time to order the supplies and get you the supplies in plenty of time before the class actually starts. So December 10th is the last day to sign up. So you do have time. You know, we will remind you about it again as well as we get closer to December 10th. But you know, don't necessarily wait. You know, if you know you want to do it, just go ahead and sign up. But you do have some time to think about it. But we do send you, in my case, the book, the Quilter's Guide to Color. Also, if you already have the book for some reason, we also have an option for a rainbow bundle. So if you know, you don't need to buy the book again. That's silly. So you can choose when you go to sign up if you want the book or the bundle. For the embroidery classes, there's the book, the needles, optional thread pack, and then you can choose, you know, which combination of that you need in case you already have the book or the needles or whatever.
Yeah.
So all of that is on the website. When you go to the page, if you scan this QR code, you'll go directly to the Color for Quilters, and it'll have those options on the page. Same for the embroidery.
Yeah. I'm excited to start.
I know, we just have to wait 4 months. But we did just start ones because you've had 1 meeting or 2 meetings so far
I had
for
one
your.
meeting because I'm
Okay,
at the
yeah, I've
end
had
of the month.
two of my colors so far for the September start. So yeah, so if you missed getting to sign up in September, now's your chance for January.
Yeah. And Kathleen asked if her Sue Spargo book, she and her book are in different places. If she needs to order another one later, yeah, that's fine. I did notice in our new thing that Sue updated her book.
Oh, right, yes.
There are
But
there
sneaky
are
update.
there are 4 pages that are different, but it is really just the thread propaganda. So the pages that describe the decorative threads are different, but not in
Where they
a
mention like specific brands and things like
right.
that.
She's got different favorite brands now, which is kind of distressing to learn while I was
after the
trying to
fact.
explain it. But it's not a, not a big deal.
Yeah, the content
Right.
is the same. But yeah, they did do kind of a sneaky update there.
Yeah,
So
it surprised me. They didn't wanna change the cover to say 3rd edition. I
right, just to keep you on your toes.
just a little live action Panic Attack. Um,
Those are always fun.
yeah. But so this Friday, we have a virtual social sewing session from 7 to 9 p.m. with me. And we have it set up a little bit differently. If you are in, maybe Yvette will give me a note. If you are in one of our classes, oh, okay.
Yes, one of the block of the months, right?
In a block of the month or a class, or is that it? That's what we have, like, right? We have classes or block of the months, or if you've
Yes.
taken an on-demand class. Here,
Yes.
the boss is here.
So we have String
You
Fling
have
block
no
of the month,
sound of it.
Zoo Family block of the month. Those are the two we have going right now.
Pause.
Okay.
Before you get into the nitty gritty of like who signs up how, just explain what it is.
Oh,
What are we talking about?
it's a Zoom social sewing.
Bye.
We need a little like the wizard pulls up the curtain.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little
I will
slap on
be
the
there.
wrist. Come on, back
I
on
will be there
task.
fooling around playing with something and answering questions. So if you are working through any of our projects or classes and you have a question, I will be happy to answer. If it is a color specific question, if you're in color session, color journey, or yeah, it's still color journey for the one. Um,
Yes.
I will give you answers, but they will not be as good as the ones that Andrea has.
She is pretty good though, so and she can always call me or text me
Yeah, I can,
if I'm not on the virtual sewing, which that's kind of a rough time for me with a 7-year-old, but um, we'll figure it out. We'll put it that way. We'll figure it out. We'll get you taken care of.
and it's just on Zoom. So it's technology that everybody should be comfortable with, but it's an open sewing session. You can be sewing one of the projects that we did. You can be sewing something entirely different and just want to come and hang out. All good, whatever it is. I like sewing with a group of people in my space, but I don't want you all in my space.
No, you don't want us to all come to your house.
Well, there's only one other machine and I don't know how to use it. Um, but like I like that social stuff, so I want some. So come and hang out with me. Yeah,
Yeah,
Zoom
and
is
the
is
Zoom. Yes, it is more fun than it sounds, as Kimberly is saying. And it's also nice because you're in your own space with all of your own stuff and your own machine. So, like, you're in your comfort zone, but you're still able to socialize and see what other people are doing too, which is pretty fun.
yeah. And it is the second Friday of the month from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern time. I have some idea that other people have jobs outside of the home. They don't get to sew and make videos all day, which sounds like an interesting existence. But so after work, come and hang out with me on Friday. We can all talk about how I'm making my husband order his own pizza. Um, and it'll be fun. And you'll get to see CJ on my
Hmm.
sewing machine because she's now decided the sewing machine is hers too. I have the world's only cat dog.
Yeah,
Uh,
my cats are always trying to steal my pins.
yeah.
The
So
worst
we
thing they could take off the sewing table.
yeah. Oh, that's true.
And
Yeah,
yes,
Ken's saying Zoom filters out those sewing machine sounds,
it's
which
gotten
when we
really
first
good.
started, it was awful. And now like my laptop sits right behind my sewing
Yep.
machine and nobody knows. So
Yeah,
it's
we used to
beautiful.
have to mute when we were using our sewing machines, but not anymore. You can be sewing and talking and mixing it up the whole time.
Yeah. Oh, Club Gotham members also got an email and can come to the meetings for free. So I think, and if you're not in one of our things, they're $25 a piece. So I don't know. I hope
Okay,
we
yeah,
will
we've
have
got
more.
the QR code for that up on the screen. So if you are already in Club Gotham or one of our block of the months or things like that, do you still have to register, or can you just show up?
I don't know. And looks like I got it.
Uh, so, Yvette, if you are in one of the Block of the Months or a Club Gotham member and you want to come to the virtual sewing, do you still have to register online or can you just show up?
You probably have to register to get the link.
Oh, good point. So this is probably like our thread talks where they have the events in their spaces. I'm not clear on what that means.
So if you go into the Mighty Network space, the link is in there.
Okay.
I'll do a
Okay,
little.
so you don't have to register. You can just go into the space, and which you should already be familiar with if you are in the Block of the Month or a Journey or whatever. And it would be one of the live events that
We
you can
need a
just click
curtain
on.
sound.
We do.
This part did get a little complicated.
Yeah.
So basically, if you haven't signed up for anything that we've been talking about, you can register for any session of virtual social sewing by going to the website and checking out, and you get a Zoom link immediately. They're $25 a session. It's a 2-hour open sewing once a month, right? If you are in any of our other things, you're a Club Gotham member, you're in one of the current Block of the Months, you're in Stitch Journey, you're in Color Journey, etc., etc. Each of those groups has gotten notifications in various ways for how they can register for free. So either there's a meeting, an event inside your space. So if you're in a Block of the Month, there's an event inside your space. You just click that. You don't have to register. Club Gotham people got an email and a link to the place that has all the meetings in it, all the meeting Zooms in it, and they can just click there too. So depending on which thing you're in, you've received access to it somehow.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
For everyone who's watching, if I just said that and you're thinking, I'm in this thing and I have no idea what you're talking about, just send us an email.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for any of the things we've talked about, if you have questions that we haven't covered or you're not sure what the hell we're talking about, you can always send us an email, info@Gotham Quilts, and we'll get back to you with the information as soon as we can.
Yeah. And thank you to Yvette, because what happens is I come up with an odd idea and then I flesh it out,
And
and
then
then I just
she
make
has
her
to
do all
figure
the
out how
work.
to implement it.
Right. Like all the computer stuff is just like, I don't know how it works. I don't know what it is. And it just works.
Same for
you.
me. Yep. She's obviously the technical person of this operation.
So, all right.
All right, I think we probably confused everyone enough
Yeah, I think so.
talking about all those various things. But basically, it comes down to virtual sewing. The first one starts this Friday. There is a color for quilters class starting in January, and a embroidery 101 and an embroidery 201 also starting in January. All of that information is on our website, and if you have any questions about any of those things or anything else, just send us an email at info@Gotham Quilts, and we will be happy to answer your questions. And we
Yeah.
just got a link up in the chat for
So
the social sewing registration. And I think that's it for tonight.
I think that's enough. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll be on the email tomorrow answering all the questions that we generated tonight. So
There you go. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. And we will see you again next week.
Oh, yeah. And we'll be talking all about Bagapalooza.
Which you might have heard about already, but if not, tune in and we'll tell you all about it. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye.